Hi, welcome to another installment of If It's in the Mind, It Can Be Managed, the Mind Management Mentors podcast. I'm your host, Cuddy Cudworth, and I maybe did not realize that I have a big fish on the podcast until, in fact, I'll allow yourself to introduce yourself as if you were on blind date. Tell us who you are, what you do, and why you're here.
Okay, thanks, Cuddy. My name is Donna O'Toole. I'm the founder of August Recognition and Awards app, and I support people and individuals and businesses to raise their profile and get more authority by winning awards.
Absolutely. And are you allowed to share who your business partner is?
Yes.
Perfect. This is how I think we've maybe landed a big fish.
So I'm part of the Dent Global group, and Daniel Priestley is my business partner. So I've been working with Dan for about 5 years, and I support on the Key Person of Influence program as well on supporting people to learn how to raise their profile. And then we're just launching this year another business called Awards App, which is very exciting.
And by the way, when I do get guests on, I always first of all say thank you so much because I don't know if but did I bump into you or did I bump into your team?
I think we met at the
It was
business show, didn't we,
it was the
in
business show in
London?
London. Yes.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I spoke to you, Donna, because I
No,
know
I think you spoke to my team at the time
I
because I
did.
think I was speaking on the stage and you were talking to them.
So thank you to your team for saying, oh, you need to speak to Cuddy. Now, I always try and make myself stand out. I remember that, like I said before we started the podcast, I remembered Daniel Priestley, how to increase your circle of influence so you become the person that everybody asks. And I apologize for not knowing that you were actually a business
Yes.
partner with Daniel
It's
Priestley.
not a problem.
But there is something that I do to generate that circle of influence by I am 6'2" and 4 feet wide, and I do have a silly haircut, and I always wear neon colors. And that's one of the
Easy to
parts
miss then.
not easy to miss. And I've always got a smile on my face because if I'm not smiling at 6'2" and 4 feet wide and my haircut, I look really aggressive. So I'm always smiling. And everyone always asks me, why are you always smiling? I went, because if I don't smile, you'll be scared of me. They went, you've actually made a really good point there. So you are here today on the podcast to talk about, especially because this podcast is aimed towards coaches, workplace wellness, mindset, and mental health. And we've all got a story. But when I saw you talking and I approached your team, I'm like, that is something that I know myself have wanted to work on. And a lot of coaches are going to be going, oh, I need to watch that. And it is how to build with so much noise in the world. And
Mhm.
there is so much noise. And I think a lot of coaches, especially myself when I was newer into the business, we get a lot of flashy light syndromes like, oh, that's what I need next. Oh, that's what I need next. So after you've gone through all that, you're like, what is next?
Mm,
And building authority,
mm.
becoming the Alex Hormozes or the Dan Priestleys or the Stephen Bartletts of the world. And the fact that you're one of those business partners, I think we've got the right person to ask those questions to, Donna. So, Donna, how and where do we start? As if I'm coming to you as a new client, how do we start building, first of all, without winning the awards, an authority?
Mm. Well, interestingly, we work with a lot of coaches actually to support them to build their authority. So I'd say the first thing is a bit of internal work actually, like you say, if it's in the mind, it can be managed.
Yes.
One of the first things that we do is, and one of the things that I do in some of my workshops is looking at people's what we call their awards personas, and
Right.
that's because people come at the theory of recognition with a real preconception and a real persona. And I judge a lot of awards as well. I judge a lot of the leading awards in the UK. And I will see entries come through as a judge where immediately within one line, I know they're not going to win. Or within one line, I know they are going to win. And it all comes from that persona that's coming through when they're putting that entry in. There's obviously more to it than that, but that is the first instance. So I would say it's to think about yourself and how you feel about recognition. Are you someone who feels like what we call the awards imposter? no, it's not for me. I'm not ready. I couldn't possibly win. I haven't got enough yet, and you really feel like an imposter in that environment. Or maybe you're the ostrich and you think, no, I've got the stuff, but I just want to bury my head in the sand and I don't really want anyone to know about it. Or maybe you're someone who you keep trying and actually it's not worked for you and you're more like the bridesmaid and you're up there you never quite make it to the podium, you're always in the finals but never quite the winner. So we have all these different personas that we look at and how people are approaching awards. So that's the first thing to do, I'd say, is have a little think to yourself. What could recognition do for me? What difference could it make to my business or to the people who were thinking about working with me if I was showing that I was the coach of the year or the best coach in this region or of this type? What difference would that make? So I always ask, who would you rather buy from when you're doing your business shopping or any kind of shopping, in fact? Would you rather buy from the business or the individual who's got awards or the one that hasn't? You're probably going to choose the one that's got the awards. So you need to put yourself in those shoes as well and put yourself up for it.
Yeah, absolutely. So getting out there into front of the people. So I actually have a question, which is probably more of a coaching question, but I'm sure you'll have the answer for this. If not, we'll breeze past it. What's the difference between recognition and seeking validation? Do you find some people are seeking validation from that award? Or do you think, because recognition and validation, how does that work? Because you actually mentioned the ostrich, you mentioned that the imposter, and I was like, what about the peacock that's like, look at all
Yeah.
mine?
Well, funny you should say that, but Peacock is one of our personas.
It has to be, right? I know, I was thinking
Yeah.
it's got to be a peacock.
Yeah, 100%. I think sometimes they go hand in hand, actually, and sometimes so for some people, particularly individuals who work on their own, like coaches or entrepreneurs of some way, often they are looking for validation because they don't quite know if they've got it right yet. As business owners and founders, there's no one behind you tapping you on the back going, wow, you did that amazing, well done. You have to work that out for yourself. And sometimes awards can help you validate that. In fact, I would say I've actually worked with individuals where the feedback has been, I can think of one gentleman where actually the feedback after he won some awards was that it had really validated his ideas that he didn't know were right just because he was telling himself that they were right. He needed someone else to tell him. And actually, the confidence that gave him when he was feeding back was that even his marriage felt better because his confidence had grown and he believed in himself more following the awards. So it can really be really valuable validation for somebody. It can also be validation of your product in the marketplace because on a bigger perspective, we work with some very big organizations. Would you know how this product matches up to others in the marketplace? You can go on sales, but actually a lot of large organizations use awards to benchmark themselves against others and their tools, their processes, their people, everything. So I think validation is important, but recognition in itself can be utilized again really positively in a way that is, well, we've achieved this, or we've got this far, or we've created this impact. So let's recognize that, because the theory of recognition is that the more you recognize, the more you will grow, and the more you will do, and the more you will recognize. So it's a virtuous circle of success that drives the next success.
Donna, that's fantastic. Have you got any more? If you've got the peacock, the ostrich, and what other? Sure,
So
I'm
other
getting there first.
personas. Okay, let's run through them. You've got the mathematician. That's someone whose entries are dull and full of data, but no story. The opposite of that is the storyteller. So they tell a beautiful story, but
I've no
we as
substance.
judges don't know if it's fact or fiction.
I'm a storyteller.
The
I know that for a fact.
politician you'd love. I think they tell a great story, but the numbers never add up and they don't fulfill the promises. I can't remember now. We've got lots more.
I love that. I'm writing them down because I'll put them into the podcast description.
I'll send you a link. We've got a blog. In fact, they're all in my book actually.
I would definitely be a peacock and a storyteller. Well, that's the thing. Now, to be fair, for anyone that's watching this or any other coaches have been like, in fact, I'll actually, Probably, I will share. I say this all the time. I always say, "Welcome to the podcast. I'm the UK's leading mind management coach." Now, I'm a big believer in identity. And I explain to a lot of my clients and anybody is like, look, identity is really important for us for something to lead to understand. And everyone's like, oh my God, you're the UK's leading mind management coach. I'm like, yes, self-titled. And they're
Yeah.
like, well, hang on a minute. How is that? I'm like, because I didn't want to call myself a life coach. I didn't want to call myself a CBT NLP practitioner. And I was like, my favorite book is the Mind Management Paradox by Stephen Peters. And I was like, I'll find out if there's any mind management coaches in the UK. And I found out there was three. And I thought, you
Oh,
know
wow.
what? I'll just say I'm the UK's leading mind management. Out of the three, I'm tipping the egg saying I think I'm probably going to be as good as the other two. So I'll say the UK's like, but that is genuinely a storyteller way
Mhm.
of, I'm guessing if I sent you an application, you go, I'm the UK's leading mind management coach because I enjoyed this book, you'd be going, he's not going to win the award this time.
I might say prove it. Um, where's your evidence?
There's your evidence. I'm not,
But no, but I completely agree that I think your how you approach it and your mindset really matters on that. And I also, truly believe that it's not so much fake it till you make it. It's more like if you don't aim high, you're not going to get high, are you? You've got to aim high to try and get there. So when it comes to us to awards and recognition, we're always encouraging people to aim higher because people will often think, oh, well, what award should I go for? And they're not strategic. They're not looking at the competition. They're just going, well, I heard of this one once, or my friend once went into that one. And then they sort of half-heartedly put themselves into it because they're really scared of being judged, and then they don't win and they go, well, see, it wasn't for me, or it's all a fix, or it's a dodgy award, but actually had you thought about it strategically, planned it, really made sure that it fit your strengths, the categories fit your strengths, demonstrated that you have the impact that you're saying you have, created evidence, actually you get out what you put into anything. So, it's definitely there's definitely some great achievable awards out there if you know what you're doing when you're going into them in the first place and you believe that you can achieve it.
perfect. So if I'm coming to you, Donna, and I'm saying, right, I'm the UK's lead mind management coach, and I have a really great process of helping resolve trauma in less than 4 sessions, not much talking. These are the techniques that I use. What would be the award or the kind of process you say, Cuddy, you need to go for this recognition? This is the recognition because you're sat there, Donna. You must know all the different recognitions that bring. So could you give us a good 3 to 5 different recognitions that would suit different bodies, businesses, and cultures? Because I'm actually not sure if I'm aware of that many recognition
Well,
or kind of things that I can play for.
there's more than well over 5,000 awards in the world
Well,
and hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of categories.
yeah,
So before you even start thinking about what you should go for, I challenge you the other way around to
perfect.
say, actually, you need to use this framework in order to assess what you should go for. So doing a bit of self-evaluation first will help you to direct into the right awards. So we start with if you imagine like a Venn diagram, logic, values, and evidence. So the logic is a bit left brain, right brain. So you need to think about on the logic side of things. What is it that you do in your business from a logical perspective? How does that help people? Do you make money from it? Is it working so you can actually make sales from it? And there's a lot of logical evidence that will sit around that. But then you've got the values side of things, and that is the story, the human impact, the details that go into those testimonials and case studies and things that really bring to life the values. Now, that's the part that engages the judges. And then you need to bring evidence into both sides there. So you need both quantitative evidence for the logical side and qualitative evidence for the values side of things. And when you can bring all that together and you can answer those questions, then you're in a really good place to go, okay, here's my USP. This is what I do. This is why I stand out. And therefore, now I can look at the awards. I can look at the categories. I can look at the previous winners of these types of awards and I can self assess which ones I'm going to fit best into. So you're absolutely right. It is really difficult, but most people don't know most recognition programs out there. When we're working with clients, we will do all of that work with them. So we'll understand what it is that makes them stand out. So if it's a coach, let's say, well, what makes you different to another coach? And if you were competing against this coach, how would you stand out versus them? And we look for the nuggets and the stories and the case studies and all the evidence. We even do surveys to get evidence when they don't have it. Very often people don't collect their own evidence around things. And then we'll fine tune which awards they're going to go into. So why would they go into that award? What is it that they're hoping to achieve from it? Because there's no point throwing yourself into random awards where you don't really know what you're going to get back from it. We want you to get a return on investment back from an awards process. So from the recognition you get, what's it going to help you go on and do in your business? Is it going to help you get more customers? Is it going to help you recruit? Is it, what is it going to help you achieve? And that will also help steer the direction of what awards you're going for. So if you said to me, well, I own a shop in Brighton and actually my shop relies on footfall of people coming into the shop. So actually, a local award or something that shows that we have great products or something like that could be really valuable for me. Whereas for somebody else who works online globally and has got clients in America, that's not relevant for them. So we wouldn't even go down that road. So it's all about looking at what's relevant, what's going to bring value to you, and what you've genuinely got the right credentials to go into.
Perfect.
I mean, I could name awards, but I'm actually really careful about that because unless I've done that assessment with you, I wouldn't recommend an award to you because it might not be right for you. You might not be at the right stage. Different awards are looking for different things. The stage of your business, the size of your business, the type of clients that you have, etc., will make a difference to whether you should or shouldn't go for a particular award. We do have a quiz on our website though that's free. So which is an awards generator. So you can fill in details and it asks you questions, and then that generates 5 awards that you could enter.
Nice.
So that's a good place to start, if
Yeah.
nothing else. You can do it completely free, and you can do that and get 5 awards that are legitimate, strong, good awards. The other thing is that's really important nowadays is just not to just jump into an awards process because someone sent you a text message or a DM or a email telling you that you've been nominated for something, and if you just pay £500 you can win this award. There's a huge amount of awards scams out there, and one of the things that
Oh, a
we
lot.
yeah, one of the things we're really passionate about and that want to change, and will be doing with Awards app, is making sure that people are only entering safe, valuable awards that are going to bring them a return on investment.
Yeah, because I kind of using, I always try and change it into an analogy because I think people really enjoy metaphor, but there's no point me entering the best fish and chips in Scotland award, is there?
Not really, unless
No,
you have a fish and chip shop, do you?
unless I have a fish and chip shop.
Yeah. But I'd say from a judge's perspective, about 50% of the entries that I read that don't win should have been in a different category. And actually, they could have won, but they put themselves in the wrong race. So, another one of our recommendations is to make sure you're in the right race because you don't see Usain Bolt and Mo Farah competing against each other because one's a sprinter and one's a marathon runner. And yet, we see that happening in business awards all the time. And it's like, well, you need to do that piece of work first to understand your strengths and your USP, to then understand how to get yourself into the awards, the right awards, where you're going to have the most likelihood of getting the result that you want.
This, do you know what? I didn't even, and I did see you speak for a few minutes because, like I told you, I was trying to get around as many people as I could. But this actually sounds like a minefield now. I mean, this is not. It's all right reading a Daniel Priestley book or seeing one of his videos on YouTube and going, right, I'll have a stupid haircut. I'll wear a neon shirt when I'm walking around. I'll create my circle of influence. This is really in depth.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I've been doing it for over a decade, so it's quite
This-
a lot. I've written a whole book on it. You can get a free copy of me.
We'll have a link for the book as well in the podcast description. Right. So let's focus on coaches right now. Let's really deep dive into the coaches. What's the 5, if you know of how many thousands of awards there is, that what would the top 5, or let's say top 3, because I don't want to You'd be like
I'm
giving
not
a
giving you
package.
top anything because it's not necessarily the right award for the right person. What you need to think about instead is what does the coach want to achieve? So if the coach wants to achieve more, what does the coach want to achieve? So what would you want to achieve by getting
I
awarded?
would want to build an authority in techniques for something that is completely different to talk therapy.
Right, okay. So you might want to go for a specialist coaching award because that will show your authority within the coaching industry. And so for your customers, they can see that you've got an accreditation or an
Yeah.
award from an authority in the industry that knows what coaching is all about, right? With a category that links into what it is that you do, because that will really help you to shine from a specialist perspective. But you might also want to win an award that is not so specialist, but is more about you as being a strong business. Because actually, when people are buying services, especially in this day and age, we want to know that we're buying our services from a reputable, reliable source. So actually having a general business award, which isn't so much about your coaching, but it's more about your business, can really complement the specialist award at the same time. So you can show, look, I've got a really strong business model, we're doing exceptionally well, and we've all got all these great customer case studies, but I'm also this specialist coach. And look, these awards will then speak for themselves when you're pitching to your clients. There's been a lot of research around that shows that awards and reviews used together on your website, 85% of people now want to see both on your website before they will pull the buying trigger. So,
Wow.
so if you think about it, if you haven't got them, that's 85% of people who are not seeing them. So who
Wow.
wanted to. So there's a lot of research around the subconscious things that we're looking for that we don't even realize that we're looking for that give authority and credibility and trust signals to your potential customers. Because we often know about the ones that got away that we did get to pitch to, but we don't know about the ones that got away that we didn't even get that far with yet. So,
Yes.
that can be something that's really helpful if you're trying to gain more customers, for example. So, combine the different awards are great, but how you combine them as well can also be really useful for what you want to achieve with them. So, for example, if you were a coach that was growing their business, and perhaps we work with coaches who coach other coaches to then, spread their message and do their techniques. Then you might want to win some awards for your actual program or for the methodologies that you've got there, or perhaps even for the learning and development model that you're putting into place, because you might want to encourage more into your cohort. So it really depends on what are your goals, what are your strengths, and how you can combine awards to really get to that target that you want to get to.
Fantastic. Donna, I know a bit. I'm genuinely like, wow, because normally I always get like 1,001 questions in the middle of the podcast, but I'm like, this is actually, I know I just said it, but this is actually a minefield. So
Yeah,
you get a lot of people going, well, actually, what is the return on investment of working with Donna? So I'm just in this very short podcast. I'm like, it's a minefield. Don't waste your money on because I see an awful lot. I see an awful lot of, oh, I get emails all the time. Would you
yeah.
like an award in local businesses and all the or priority mind management has been recognized as
Oh,
this
yeah.
all the time. And I'm
I
like,
get them. I send them an email back going, have you read my profile? I get them on LinkedIn going, we want to feature you on this. And we've got this award that's like the exact name of what your business does. I'm like,
well,
I,
but wow, if that's the case, that's an even bigger thank you for coming on the podcast. If there's that many people reaching out to you and your team have to siphon through the colossal pile of spam,
it is.
oh,
It
and
is.
you want to go on Cuddy's podcast? Wow.
But also there's actually some quite dangerous scams out there as well that we really try to make sure people steer away from. So for example, there's something called link farming. So that's where, and this has been happening with fake awards. So you might get sent a logo for an award saying, "Hey, you were nominated for this award, and here's a badge. You can put it on your website. You won this award." And you're thinking, "What? This is odd. I didn't nominate myself for an award, but it's nice and it says that's what I do, and they haven't asked me for any money, so there can't be anything wrong with it." So, okay, I'll pop it on my website. And then what you don't know is that within that logo, there's embedded code. And that embedded code is giving backlinks now to a domain that you didn't know you were giving backlinks to. You're now raising the authority of that domain. Now, that domain, a few things can happen to it. Either, you imagine they've sent out 1,000 of those, suddenly that domain's got 1,000 more backlinks. They do that all the time internationally, and that domain raises in value. So they either sell the domain, you've just now put the value of that domain up, thank you very much, or they transfer something onto that domain that you really don't want to be associated with, and gambling, things like that. And then you are linking to a domain that is not an authority that's actually now going to ruin your SEO. So there's a lot of issues and there's a lot of scams. I've seen also very, very well-known awards have their websites duped, completely cloned, and people think that they're paying to enter an award that doesn't exist because it's just a fake website. And that
Wow.
happens a lot. So I believe the more we talk about that and the more we raise awareness of that, the more we can help people for that not to happen to them.
I mean, there's just so much cold outreach these days.
Yeah, exactly. And you just have to have due diligence. I always think, I don't know what it is about awards that it clicks people's like brains into, oh wow, yeah, I must have that. And I say, well, what do you do if you get a text that's from HMRC? You ditch it, you don't follow it, you don't click on the links, or any of these kind of phishing emails that you get. Approach awards with the same level of caution, because I also want this to protect the awards industry, because the industry itself works really hard to create incredible recognition programs that make a big difference to businesses and individuals' lives, and they don't want fakes and scams and copies and all of these things happening to discredit the industry. So the more we all do our due diligence. So I always say, if you're not sure, don't do it, whatever it is in business. But if you've been sent a link, don't use that link. Do the sensible thing. Go and look it up yourself. Use a different link online, a safe link. Check who the award is run by. Check if there's someone you can speak to, a real person. I mean, that's not always we know with a lot of scams, you can still speak to. Look at the previous winners. Look at who their partners and sponsors are. Look at their social media channels. Are they alive? Are they real? Are people posting about them because they've been to their event? Having an actual event itself doesn't say whether something is good or not good. There's lots of international awards that don't have events, that they're all online, and they're very legitimate. Whether you pay to enter or don't pay to enter isn't a signal of whether it's legitimate or not either. So you've just got to really tick all the boxes. So I guess as you say, it's a minefield. I don't want anyone to feel put off or that it's a minefield, but I do want people to proceed with caution and to know that essentially when you're entering an award, you're investing your time, your money, your faith and your team and all of the great things around your business into this process. And I want it to be a good experience and a good
Yeah.
outcome.
Donna, wow. I mean, wow. I don't think I could have got a better expert for this subject for anyone watching the podcast. And I love it when I get into a podcast and I'm like, wow, there's so much that I've learned myself. That was very Yorkshire. I live in Scotland. That was very Yorkshire. That I heard that. I was like, oh, there's your Yorkshire coming back out. So is there anybody that you can say, look, we worked with this person and this is what we did for that person without name dropping? Or if you're allowed to name drop, who would be the shining example of this is what authority brought them?
Well, I'm not allowed to name drop about 99% of my clients, as you can imagine, because we want to make sure that they get all the kudos and all the glory, and it's their work at the end of the day. We're just supporting them in the right way to get into the competition. But we do have some clients who are happy to talk about it, and there's lots of case studies on our website. So from a coaching perspective, we work with loads of coaches. There's a lovely lady called Claire Dimmond who we work with, who she runs a program, a online program. And she first came to me and said, oh, I'd love to get some awards, but I really don't think I'd be in the running for it, and I'm a bit shy. I'm not really that keen on going to events, so, so I'm a little bit of the on the imposter side of things. So we said, okay, that's fine. We picked some great awards for her. One of them was an international award. She has a good international audience, which she wanted to grow. And she said, "Oh, well, don't make me go to any ceremonies, will you?" And I said, "You don't have to go. If you don't want to go, you don't have to go. It's fine." And these ones in particular, international awards, you don't have to go. They don't expect everyone to travel for their ceremonies. So it's not going to make any difference to your results. Anyway, she went on and won every award we entered her into, some brilliant coaching awards. And then one of the awards she won, the ceremony was in New York. Next thing I know, she's on a plane to New York with her daughter. Got this most beautiful photo of them receiving the award. And she said to me, it was literally one of the best days of my life to be able to take my daughter with me and for her to see and to feel the achievement that I've made. Watching her come on that journey, then giving her even more confidence to go out there in the world, sell more of her program, grow her program, and go again. It's just fantastic. So she's a really good example.
What kind of she's not a confidence coach then, is she?
You're putting me on the spot now. I'm not really sure.
No, it's fine. It's okay. No,
I
don't worry
would
about
like to go into detail.
I know. I like the fact that she said, "Oh, I just don't want to have to." If it had been an award ceremony in Blackpool, would she have rushed off as quick to it?
Yeah, maybe not. But no, we've got lots of examples. One of my clients, he's great. There's a video case study actually of him on our website. So David, he runs an organization called Kaizen Ticketing. And his just story was phenomenal. But again, he came to us at the beginning, never won any awards, small business. Don't really know if it's worth it. Don't really know if I'd win any. What's the point? Everyone comes with a bit of cynicism generally when they've never been involved in it before. So we said, well, let's see, what have you done? What have you achieved and what you want to. And he'd actually designed a ticketing agency for football tickets. So if you imagine like Ticketmaster or like that, but on a smaller scale from the UK, and he supported a huge amount of very small football clubs to get online during the pandemic and to move their ticket sales from being physical and go and queue up at the box office to digital, which that then enabled those football clubs to be able to forecast, to be able to get their cash flow in. It kept some of them alive during the pandemic because they also included a feature of his platform is that they could do charity fundraising, so people could make donations to the club on the platform, and it's just absolutely taken off. Now he came at awards with I'm not really sure if I've got a story. We saw the story, we saw the impact, we collected the data from the different clubs, we supported him with the awards process. He literally won every single award we put him into. Now we're putting him into really high level football ticketing awards, sports awards, customer experience awards. He went into the UK Customer Experience Awards and he won 2 gold awards against ASOS, Halfords, these huge names. It was a very small business, but the impact he'd made is what made a difference. And so that's why I always get people to think about, what is the impact that you're making in the world? What is the difference that you're making? What's the change that you're making? The before and the after. And that's what you need to think about. So as a coach, you're coaching all these people, you're going through your processes, you've got your techniques and your methodologies, but what's the difference that you're making? What can they now achieve that they couldn't achieve before working with you? And are you measuring that? Do you have data to prove that? Most people don't bother collecting data. No. So we will then survey all the clients and say, so what's the difference to you since working with this business or this coach, or what was the before and what is the after, and let's create some data around that, because then we've got the evidence to show that you are doing what you say you're doing, and you're going to blow everyone else out of the water when you go into that competition because you can actually prove it. And so then you're going to have a much higher chance of success. Plus, I'm a great believer in, if you can't measure it, how do you know it's going well? So, just as a business owner anyway, I'm a great believer in data and in gathering impact data.
Yes, I think a lot of businesses are really into. What's the old saying? Is it not, if it's measurable? I've forgotten what it is, but I remember it from Royal Caribbean, and it was something on, if it's something, it can be measured. If it's measured, it can be paid for. I always forget what it is, but it used to drive me insane. It did, because but I understood yes, it's a valuable tool to use. Look, Donna, I appreciate how busy you are, and thank you so much for sharing your time. And I always like to, when we're coming to the wrap up of the podcast and things like that, is there anything else you think, look, this is what I need to tell this audience right now that lets everybody understand the power of authority, the power of recognition, that only people can hear from Donna's absolutely golden tones? What is it? What's that piece of information, Donna, that you need to share right now?
Well, I think, yeah, we're all only on this planet once. And if you can't recognize what you're achieving, then it's hard for you to be a role model for others to recognize that as well and to recognize what they're achieving in themselves. This is actually the perfect time of year to start as well, because in certainly in the UK and mostly worldwide, this is when the awards season is starting to open. So people at this time of year tend to be building strategies around which awards they're going to enter, rather like your marketing strategy. So which awards are we going to enter? When's the finals? When can we shout about this? When's the, building their PR around the calendar as well. So a lot of the awards in the UK will open in around February, March time. So this is your opportunity. So for the next month, if you do nothing else, just try and measure what you've achieved. Just look back a year. Most awards look back a year. Look back a year. Where have I come? Where am I now? And where have I come from? Have I helped a particular client? Could I use that as a case study? Have I helped a whole cohort of clients? Could I get some data from them? What is it that I could do to help myself to get some recognition that will help me move forward? Because the more you move forward, the more that you create a spotlight for everything that you believe in to enable you to have the platform to share it even wider as well. So I do believe in the one thing I'll leave you with is we have something called Who Wins When You Win campaign. People often don't want to get recognized because they think it's all about them. And I say, but it's not about you. It's
Yes.
about what you can do later once you've been recognized. Who else wins when you win? And we even, so for our clients, every time they win an award, we plant a tree for them. So because there's a bigger impact and a bigger benefit to them winning, but we encourage them to make their own Who Wins When You Win promise as well. So when I win, I'm going to, and it could be something like some of our clients say, I'm going to give a free mentoring to another student of this, or I'm going to take my team and we're going to go and celebrate, but we're going to do something good for the day. We're going to go do a beach clean, or, so lots of businesses that we work with will actually utilize their recognition programs, not just to get the recognition, but to drive them forward really positively and help them achieve their purpose as well. So I think if you can't think of anything else, think about who wins when you win and how you can use your win to help someone else.
What do the peacockers say to that, though? I'm guessing the peacockers are coming in for putting out all their awards, and they'll be like, "No, I just want it for me." But I like that because that's exactly what was popping into my head when we were talking about the recognition and validation. Is that people are constantly seeking validation just so that they can say, I'm this, and I've won this, and I've won this. And I think that final moment there, where you say, if you win, who else wins? That's a fabulous reframe to actually, this is why certificates and awards are really, really powerful. And it's not about the peacocking. It is generally about the impact that we
Absolutely.
make.
And it motivates you, it drives you forward. If you get recognized now, what else can you do? What more can you do? Even with the honor system, with the MBEs and OBEs and all the rest of it, the purpose of those is to create role models that drive you forward and to give people recognition so they'll do more. That's the purpose. So think about it that way. What more could my team achieve if they were felt recognized and they felt motivated and they felt that they've been really appreciated, and they stand out, and I've made that formal.
I love that. I'm actually going to start taking that through. I'm going to use that in a lot of my talks that I do now.
Good.
That is an absolute mind blower. I love that because that makes it not about us. That makes it bigger. That makes it a higher purpose, and that's a great driver.
100%. And that's what it's there. And at the end of the day, we're all here running businesses, and we all have the bills to pay and all of that, but we all have a purpose as well. And we
Yeah,
all want to feel that we've created some greater good around what we're doing on a day-to-day basis. And you
yeah,
can really do, it's a platform for doing more of that good.
I love that. You've been an absolute joy, and I can't say,
You,
please say
so
thank you to your team for saying yes. If I'd have known, honestly, and I suppose that little imposter comes up, but if I'd have thought you were, actually, no, I know that I have that. The intention is always to help grow and get a great message out and things like that. And I'd have probably, if I'd have known you were Daniel Priestley's business partner, I probably would have battered the door down and made sure I got you on the podcast instead of just going around, look, got a podcast. Do you want to come and talk on it? So thank you. And I mean that, Donna.
You're very welcome.
I don't know Daniel in any way whatsoever, but I feel like I've got the best of the duo on the podcast.
Yeah, obviously.
Just snip that part of the podcast and just send it to Daniel. FYI, this is me peacocking. It's been an absolute pleasure. I'm going to wrap up now. Thank you so much. Stay there where you are, Donna. Look, if you're wanting to build your authority, you're wanting to make a difference, and if you want to win, but you also have that little imposter goes up, no, I don't want to make it about me, then the clear takeaway from this podcast is if you win, who else wins? And that drives purpose and impact. And there's so much more reasons to want to go for that authority and award. And Donna is clearly the person that's going to make that happen. As always, if it's in the mind, it can be managed. And please, please, please remember, big love from Cuddy. Like and subscribe and share. And we'll see you on the next episode of the Mind Management Mentors podcast. Thank you, Donna.
Thank you.